excavation of the flame trench at Massey's, finishing touches to a tower section at Sanchez, steel work for the new office building at the build site, and repair work on the OLM continues since IFT3. Hey everyone, and welcome on board to the RGV Aerial Photography's Starbase Flyover Update episode 36. My name's Jeff A, and I'll be your guide for today. We'll be covering updates at SpaceX's Starbase facilities, cruising at an altitude of 10,500 feet. To open this episode, take a look at the stunning panorama of the South Padre Island and Port Isabel area. Procky has labelled important landmarks, including the various sites that we know as Starbase, Texas. After thick fog in the morning, the sky cleared, allowing for some amazing images this week. Before getting started at Massey's, here's a labelled map from Procky. Starting off at the flame trench area, we can see that excavation work has begun on both sides of the trench, with the excess material being used to fill in this area. Vertical rebar can be seen emerging from this concrete at the front of the trench, which could be a retaining wall. In this photo, we can see embeds in the concrete here. This surface lines up with the previously seen embeds in the vertical concrete. This is all thought to be for a movable platform to slide across the flame trench entrance for the ground crew and possibly SPMT access. The platform can be seen nearby and appears to be getting prepared for some kind of hard surface, possibly concrete. Moving to the water deluge area, new tanks are being installed with pipework leading to the main water storage tanks. While the purpose of these newly installed tanks remains a mystery, they could be part of a water hammer arrestor. Unseen from last week's images, more manifold sections have been added to the water delivery end. A new tank can be seen sitting below, as well as high-pressure gas storage to the left. Moving to the tank farm power and communications building, many spools of cable can be seen sitting near the entrance, indicating the outfitting of the building has begun. At the methane tank farm, most of the GSE plumbing seems complete. More pipework towards the static fire stand has been installed. Shifting focus to the new ship static fire platform, we can see plates have been installed on the tops of each of the legs. On the side of the ring facing the ship cryostation, what appears to be walkway brackets have been attached between the legs. Moving to the bucket fabrication area, we can see that two smaller steel pieces have been stacked on top of the larger pieces to make up the supports for the bucket. Additionally, the four individual pieces seen last week have been combined to make two more of the larger pieces previously mentioned. A post by David Stoll on X shows the other half of the water delivery structure on its way to Massey's. Next to the structural testing cage, the mystery ring has had an additional section added. Looking to the new structural test pad, a new leg piece, possibly for one of the 5 large embeds, is lying on its side. One clue to the use of this mystery structure is the fact that the can crusher nearby is steadily being dismantled, while the can crusher cap, on the other hand, is having new parts added. These new tabs are similar to the ones seen on top of the structural test cage that were used to induce a twisting and lateral forces on the test articles. This could indicate that we are seeing a new structural test stand. And with that, over to Sanchez. Before we get started at Sanchez site, let's take a look at a labelled map for those who may be unfamiliar with the layout. Starting at the stand construction area, some progress can be seen on the new booster transport stand, but the entire ring is not yet complete. It looks like 3 more sections are required for the ring structure to be finished. You can compare it with this one to the left that is almost complete. Sliding to the left, we see the mysterious objects that we are keeping track of. The dome-like structure is practically the same as the last flyover, with just a new hatch now visible. These 2 other mystery objects are very similar and could be part of the same structure, and believed to be used in the Star Factory as some kind of nose cone jig. Switching down to the tower segment construction area, more progress is seen on the top section of what will be the orbital pad B tower. Flooring is being installed and getting ready to receive the pulley system for the chopsticks cable. To the left, some stands for more tower sections are being placed, which is weird considering that 5 sections are pending transportation from the port of Brownsville to here. The hot staging ring and booster section have been staged over behind the high bay. We expect that ring to be installed on top of B11 before it rolls to the pad for static fire testing. And yes, this is the moment of sad news. As you can see in the rocket garden, something very tall is missing. As we expected in the previous episode, Booster 4 was moved to Mega Bay 1 ahead of scrapping. This prototype stayed here for more than 2 years. Here are the 2 grid fins removed before transport to Mega Bay 1. We will miss you, B4. Behind the rocket garden, we can see more plumbing installed. This is likely for water distribution. Lastly, at Sanchez, work continues with a multi-level parking garage, with pile digging complete. The CFA rig has been disassembled with boom parts staged near the GAC building for removal from the site. Let's take a quick glance over this labelled map from Procky. Looking first at the vehicle bays, we see that all 3 sections of the Mega Bay 2 door have been installed. Soon we should see the cladding placed over the header to finish off the facade. Inside Mega Bay 1, unseen in this image from left to right, B12, B13 and B11 are on the back work stands, with B14 in 2 parts on either side of the door. We can also see Booster 4 in the centre cut in 2 pieces awaiting scrapping. I put this time-lapse together thanks to footage from Labpadre's Sentinel cam showing B4 split apart above the common dome section in the front and centre position of Mega Bay 1 after its rollout from the rocket garden. This booster was first stacked on August 1st, 2021, before moving to the launch site 2 days later in the full send rush of summer 2021, which ended in a full stack of Ship 20 and Booster 4. In early 2022, it was revealed by Elon Musk that SpaceX ultimately decided to go with the highly upgraded Booster 7 for the first orbital flight test. Heading back to the air, in the high bay there were no noticeable changes for Ship 31 or 30. Behind the Star Factory along the property line, we see 3 recently unwrapped aft flaps waiting on tile application in Tent 4. Behind Mega Bay 2, the concrete wall section has been poured and formwork removed. Next to the Phase 1 door, we see an additional footing being constructed with more getting excavated to extend Phase 1 of the factory to the west. It seems they will avoid extending farther into the doorway entrance of Star Factory to avoid obstructing the entrance of Mega Bay 2. At the front corner of the Star Factory's nose cone hallway, we see 6 truss columns are in place, with the 7th and 8th being installed later in the day to reach the corner with the front facade. Following this, we can likely expect concrete to be poured in Starship version 2 nose cones rolled out for the already completed factory section soon, as currently there are no points of exit for any sections, nose cone or otherwise. Looking behind the tallest section of the Star Factory, we see the next 4 rows of the factory continue to grow towards the bays, with just 2 more sections to go before reaching the original Phase 1 building. With a view this week of the front of the Star Factory, we can see the first layer of cladding has nearly reached the end of the curved facade. The second level is following closely behind about halfway from where they originally began cladding work. If you didn't already know, Star Factory curves along with Highway 4, as seen in this telephoto shot by Starbase Surfer. As we turn our attention to the office building under construction, we see that the first 7 columns with some floor beams have begun to take shape. We can see the beginning of what may be an exterior mezzanine on the exterior facing the launch site. On the north wing of the office building, we see the newest footing structures taking shape. 3 additional dog-bone footings have been poured with additional square footings along them being framed for future pours. Between the Star Factory and the office, we see parts for another lattice boom crawler crane that will be assembled to help with lifting steel beams into place on the higher floors. At the former solar farm site, the land cleared and prepared for concrete last week has now had some of those pads filled in with concrete. Will this be more parking, or will they use this space for more of the contractors' homes? Let us know what you think in the comments. Before we get started at the launch site, let's take a look at this labelled map. Thanks again to Procky for providing these helpful reminders. Getting started on the suborbital side, we see work continues for installation of the prefabricated vertical drain system in the former parking lot. Near the top of the image, work to install the drains is underway in the small triangular lot where concrete was recently removed. If we zoom in for a closer look at the densely populated wicks that have been inserted, we see crews running black manifolds along every second row, allowing water to drain to the ends. As this process is finalised, a layer of fill dirt or gravel will be brought in and spread out to speed up the consolidation process. Legally, the comment period for the narrow piece of land SpaceX wishes to build on just to the right is due within the coming week, so we hope to bring you news on that front in our next episode. Switching angles now, we see S29 resting on top of Pad B after its arrival and subsequent lift early in the day on March 22nd. SpaceX posted on X later in the day, stating, "Flight 4 Starship moved to the pad at Starbase for upcoming static fires." The ship quick disconnect umbilical was installed that evening and the 2-point lifter unhooked the morning of the 23rd. With a road closure scheduled for Monday, March 25th, the stage was set for S29's pre-flight test campaign to get underway. The pad was clear and road closed by mid-morning Monday, with an overpressure notice delivered to residents nearby shortly thereafter. As midday approached, the suborbital tank farm came to life and prop loads soon got underway. S29 was loaded with just shy of half a tank of LOX and enough liquid methane to last the anticipated duration of the static fire. Approximately 30 minutes after the start of engine chill, a static fire was observed with what appeared to be the sea-level Raptor engines, followed in quick succession by the vacuum engines. SpaceX later released this post on X, including drone footage from the above. And on March 27th, Ship 29 conducted yet another static fire, this time with what we think was one engine. According to a tweet by SpaceX, this was to simulate an in-space startup of the Raptor engine using the ship header tanks. Moving over to the tank farm expansion area, we see several vaporizers still lying around waiting for installation. Just to the right of the two vertical tanks, a concrete pad has been torn up and re-poured with what appears to be embeds. It's possible these could be for support of some of the vaporizers, but we'll have to wait and see. Speaking of those vertical tanks, it looks like SpaceX has once again run out of paint, as we see both are partially coated like others nearby. Taking a close look between horizontal tanks 3 and 4 above, we see what could be plumbing for the vaporizers that were laid down and positioned under these tanks. Moving to the end of the site behind the electrical bunker, it looks like repair work is still needed for the chilled water supply tank that took a beating during Flight 3. Just behind the concrete blast wall, work to extend the concrete apron just beneath the wall toward the big berm is underway. Crews were actively pouring concrete at the time of our flyover. Just over to the left, we see some of the buried pipework that bypasses the berm has been exposed in what is likely preparation to extend the concrete pad around the berm. The work along this edge is likely a result of the water deluge system sending water over the short curb and causing soil erosion. Looking up behind the vertical cryo storage tanks, work to incorporate the new silver bullet tanks continues. Speculation continues to be that these tanks will provide water to the detonation suppression system and fire extinguishing systems at the tank farm and OLM. This is especially likely if the other water storage tank is to be removed as part of future plans. Just to the left of these tanks, crews are finally removing the damaged insulation from the methane tank behind the hippos. The insulation was already damaged prior to Flight 3. Hopefully a remedy can be found to protect this tank and the hippos once insulation fixes are performed. Moving over to the OLM, efforts to repair the OLM and GAC ahead of the test campaign for B11 are in full swing. The stabilizer pins necessary for booster installation and removal were reinstalled the evening of the 22nd. Switching angles, we can see the rear of the BQD hood has been removed to allow access to the cryo hoses and placed in front of the big concrete berm. One of the old hoses has already been removed and can be seen on the trailer behind the lift. If we look back toward the entrance to the site, we see a flatbed trailer has just entered with what could be the new hoses inside a wooden crate. Lastly, we see the end of the concrete blast protection wall for the tank farm expansion lot has been poured. And that's it for episode 36 of Starbase Flyover Update. Thank you for choosing to fly with RGV aerial photography, and I hope you all enjoyed the flight. If you liked what you saw today, please subscribe for more episodes and content so you don't miss out on the new videos each week, and leave a thumbs up on the way out. I'm Jeff A, and I'll see you next week from 10,500 feet.